Yo, I'm Bob. Into Marvel, happen to be totally blind since birth, talking about Spider-Man, the animated series, Season 1, Episode 8, and we're beginning the Alien Costume Saga. So, the Alien Costume Part 1 is actually the 8th episode in the series overall. It premiered on April 29th in 1995. So, this three-parter was big enough for Fox Kids to have promoted the heck out of it. I remember maybe a week, 2 weeks before it aired, we got this little 25, 30-second promo from part one. And I had no idea what this was going to be about. I think they mentioned a shocking transformation in Spider-Man. And not having read the comics, not being able to read the comics, I wasn't familiar with the black suit, with the symbiote. So I had no idea what I was in for. And I think to this day, this is one of my favorite introductions to the symbiote that we got. I liked Spider-Man 3, okay, but I really enjoyed the way that this three-parter introduced the suit, the symbiote suit. And I think Christopher Daniel Barnes did a wonderful job when it comes to portraying a more sinister symbiote Spider-Man, or symbiote, or however you want to say it. They pronounce it several different ways in this show and other incarnations. I love the introduction of Rhino. He's voiced by Don Stark. We also get to meet John Jameson, J. Jonah Jameson's son. He is voiced by Michael Horton. And as the episode begins, I like how, they're in space and he discovers the rock in which the symbiote is hiding. And I like how it hitches a ride to Earth. I think they've probably already discovered the Prometheum X. I wouldn't think the creature's hiding in the Prometheum X, but they also bring that back to Earth with them. And when you have a big three-parter like this, you can also throw in Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, and Alistair Smythe. And I like how these two are doing their own thing. They get wind, of course, that the shuttle is bringing back Prometheum X, and it's supposed to be a very powerful boon to mankind. Either that, or as the news broadcaster says, it could be a very explosive force, the most explosive force on the planet, or something along those lines. So now everybody knows that the shuttle is bringing Prometheum X. You have Eddie Brock. He's back in this episode as well. I remember being surprised to see him again. When I first saw him in the Spider Slayers episodes, I thought he was just kind of a one and done character. Remember, I had no idea about the comics. So I was really glad that we saw Eddie again. I knew the name Venom because they had toy commercials with this character in them. I heard kids at school talking about his action figure, but I had no idea that later on in this three-parter we were going to get to see Eddie go through a very interesting transformation. So he's down on his luck as the episode begins, and Eddie's desperate for cash, so he kind of snaps some pictures as Spider-Man heads to the crash site of the shuttle, because it crashes, near the Hudson. So you have everybody showing up there. Kingpin, he really wants the Prometheum X, so he dispatches the Rhino to get it for him. And I think in this incarnation, Rhino's just a guy in a costume, whereas in Spectacular Spider-Man, he's actually more of a superhuman, more of a mutant kind of character. Well, he's not a mutant, but he gains his Rhino abilities from Doc Ock and Norman. Here, I think he's just a guy in a suit, unless I'm missing something, because John calls him a guy in a Rhino costume later on. So I think he's just kind of wearing the costume here. I don't know for sure, because there's really not much information about this character's backstory. When he answers the phone, when he's talking to Kingpin, who knows? For all I know, he could be just a regular guy, not in a costume. You might actually be able to see the guy's face with no horn or anything like that on him. He's just kind of answering the phone. He knows he's got a job to do, so he's going to go do it. And I think Spider-Man gets his spider butt handed to him here at the beginning of the episode before he gets the suit. And then, of course, Brock, he's there. He's snapping photos of everything. John is injured, and you have Jameson, who issues a $1 million bounty on Spider-Man because he thinks, thanks to Brock, that Spider-Man has taken the Prometheum X from the shuttle. JJ is always so quick to jump the gun here, and so he's emotionally distraught because his son is hurt. He's looking for someone to blame, an outlet for that rage. Spider-Man just happened to be there. Brock just happened to be there filming photos and, of course, lying about what Spider-Man was doing. And yeah, he gets his old job back, temporarily, of course, and because he lies to his former boss. And now Spider-Man is framed for something he didn't commit. I like how Peter, at one point in the episode, he's like, yeah, for once in my life, I'm worth something and I can't collect. So he's not having a very good day. I like how he unknowingly carries the symbiote with him from the crash site. I think it probably attaches to his suit. So we get that really cool scene where, he puts his suit aside after he's had a rough day. Aunt May's even kind of rubbing it in, unbeknownst to her, that Spider-Man has got no place to hide. And as he's sleeping, I wonder how that scene looks. You've got, you hear him moaning in his sleep, as I'm sure the symbiote attaches to him. We hear all these weird, electronic noises. I don't know if it's kind of a dream that he's incorporating as the symbiote is bonding to him. And then as we go to commercial break there, he finds himself hanging upside down, and he's not sure how in the heck he got there. And I love how they break for commercial right then and there. It was just such a cool way to have introduced the symbiote in this incarnation. I know in the comics he gets it while they're fighting the Secret Wars, but this, man, I love how they did this here. So we see JJ, he is very vulnerable in this episode yet again. I like that he is not thinking clearly, and Brock, being Brock in this incarnation, he's emotionally manipulating him. JJ's apt to believe anything. So, I like how Brock weaseled his way into getting his job back. Of course, this is going to come back to bite him in the very next episode. But when we get to see Spider-Man exploring what his suit can do, the webbing is shooting out on its own. He can jump further. He's a lot stronger. He can, I guess, lift something that's a little bit more heavy than a Volkswagen. I'm not sure what he's lifting up here because there's no audio description to these older episodes, this series at all. And you've got everybody out to get him because everybody wants that $1 million. But he's able to escape because that suit can, look like whatever the heck it wants to. So I think he disguises himself as a sergeant. And that's how he's able to elude capture. And as, the final act of the episode's going on, he's getting a bit more cocky. He's getting a bit more rebellious, And I like this interpretation of how the suit makes him act, whereas I feel like in Spider-Man 3 he's a bit more of a bully. He's not as to me at least, he wasn't as sinister as he is here and in the Spectacular Spider-Man. Not to say I didn't like Spider-Man 3. I love what Tobey did with the character, but I don't think there was enough time to really go into what the symbiote could do, because at the same time they had to juggle the whole Green Goblin successor bit in the movie with Harry. They had to do so much in that movie. And here, I think even though this is a shorter story, it's about 70 or so minutes long, all three parts. We get a bit more time with the suit, and we get to see a bit more of what it does to Peter. It makes him more confident. It's scaring Felicia because he's about ready to start a fight with Flash Thompson here. So I guess he's a bit more of a bully here as well. And this is one part of the episode that I really like because they've got the Prometheum X. Kingpin and Smythe, they've got the Prometheum X, but they don't have the Lithium-90 control rods. And Smythe is freaking out because Kingpin has a buyer already lined up for it. And he's like, How am I supposed to test this if I don't have the control rods? What am I supposed to do? And Kingpin's like, nothing is accessible. Nothing is accessible. Rather, nothing is inaccessible to me. So he calls Rhino, and we get another confrontation between Spidey and Rhino. But here, at the end of the episode, Spider-Man has leveled up because he's in that suit now. I imagine he's a lot faster. I I love how this episode ends. Spidey's about ready to end the Rhino, and I do mean end, because he's not going to send him to jail. He's about ready to do this guy in, and he remembers what Uncle Ben has said. He remembers that he has been acting a little abnormally. He actually snaps at Aunt May earlier in the episode after he's gotten the suit, and she's talking about how awful Spider-Man is. He was like, I'm not going to listen to any more of this, and he walks out of the room. And so he does the right thing at the end of the episode. But right before we go to the to be continued, he hears the trademark Venom growl, and I don't know if he actually sees something in a reflection somewhere, or if the suit actually moves with him in it, because that's not described at all. But he's starting to realize that something is off here, and I just love how the episode ends with him like, what the heck was that? And I give part one a definite 10 out of 10. I like how they were able to give Kingpin and Smythe something to do, at least in the first two parts. We're going to see them in the next episode. And I like how we're introduced to yet another member of, in this carnation anyway, the Insidious Six. We're introduced to Rhino in the episode. So next time we're going to be talking about the Alien Costume Part 2. I can't wait to get into that one because, man, Christopher Daniel Barnes does some amazing, kind of scary voice work toward the end of the episode. As you'll see, if you've not watched these episodes, it's on Disney Plus. If you don't have Disney Plus, you can get them on Amazon. At least I think you can still get them on Amazon Instant Video. They're available to buy on demand. At least I think they were. I still have mine anyway. I don't know if they still sell them. But this is a fantastic three-parter, and I've been looking forward to getting into this one for quite a while now. So can't wait to get into part 2 next time. And until then, true believers.